Got it. Should we start from the top with the intro again?
Hey, why not?
Okay. I thought you were going to hold it in.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Bill Rossi, take two.
All right, don't look. Today, amateur baseball meets Division I softball. The best man speech that goes from average to exceptional. And the rush of wedding season 2023 is in full swing. The debut episode of Cocktail Hour starts right now. Welcome to the beautiful undisclosed location somewhere in Lancaster, PA. My name is Phil Rossi. Across the pond, it's like looking in a mirror. My man, Howie D. What's up, Howie?
What's up, Phil?
How are you?
Wait, before we get started, is it Phil or Philip?
Phil.
Phil.
And you're good with Howie.
Correct.
D.
Howie D. We
What's
go with
the D
Howie or Howie or D. D is
Okay.
my last name, DeSanto. I just feel like too much Italian on the show.
Right.
So I'll go with the D. Exactly. So Howie D, not from the Backstreet Boys. But it is my name, so I feel I can use it.
Okay. It was definitely a longer explanation than we really needed, but I'll take it.
But do you understand now?
Oh, I definitely understand.
So I got my point across.
All right, so the first thing we want to talk about, is why we're doing this. Why this podcast, this show exists.
Because I felt going back, so we'll go back a little bit in time. So I was, and I guess Phil was too. You were, right, in the radio business.
Yes, in the radio business.
So I was in the radio business mid to late 90s through the early 2000s, and I felt radio's changed, and everybody's always asked, why haven't you stuck with radio? Why did you get out of radio? And it's because it's not the same as it was when I started. It was fun. So that's what I wanted to bring to a podcast, something fun, but at the same time informative on things that I've done and been passionate about my whole life, and is DJing weddings.
Yeah, and we know from just doing, private events and weddings how fun they are every weekend.
Yeah.
And now we're definitely getting into the full swing of, weddings and events and stuff all the time. But like we talked about, that once you do radio and you do broadcasting, you always have that itch. It's like that bug that always kind of comes back up and grabs you, and you kind of want to get back into it. And because the industry has changed, we felt like this is a great way to, kind of get those creative juices flowing and still do what we love to do, primarily on the weekends, but also integrate this as part of something that we both love. Absolutely.
So, like, my last stint in radio was on a morning show, and there's a lot of things that happen on a morning show, a lot of informative information as well as games and fun. And that's, again, not to reiterate, but that's what I want this about, to be fun. I want to bring on guests that are in the industry. I want to bring guests that I used to work with in radio, and hopefully down the road get some celebrities on the show.
Right. We want to inform, couples that we work with all the time. And that reminds me of a text that you got from is he a close friend?
He's a really close friend. I grew up with him. We grew up together, I think 7 years old.
Right. So he's a close friend, and you told him that we're going to start this show.
Yeah.
And he sent you
a plethora of information.
The funny part about this is that he definitely didn't write it.
100%.
There's no way.
And I'm going to call him out. I'm not going to say his name because he's probably going to listen. And he's going to be like,
I'll say it.
Don't say it. But yes, he gave us, and he sent it to me. I was like, there's no way he wrote this, because how can you text this fast? And it was like 3 big paragraphs. Paragraphs like Cliff Notes. Would you say Cliff Notes? I should, Phil. I was like, dude, you got to see this.
He had to find it online somewhere, 100%. And then he just copy and pasted it, sent it to you.
Steve,
and then the only thing he...
Steve, I'm going to say his name, Steve. I'm calling you out. You're full of shit, bro. But I liked enthusiasm. I liked the fact that he was trying to
He
help us
texted
out.
like half of the Declaration of Independence, and then the only thing he actually typed out himself was thoughts, ? And
I was like, you didn't do this.
You just said, you responded and said what? Driving?
I'm driving. Because I saw this huge text message come through. I was like, what in God's name is this? And I was like, oh my.
And to be honest, I was feeling his vibe a little bit. To be honest, I was feeling it because I was like, all right, the guy's trying to help us out. He's giving us some show prep ideas.
What point did you think it was informative?
It was never informative.
Okay, I'm like this. I'm like thinking to I'm looking at this text. I'm like, he's got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's not informative whatsoever.
I'm like, it's no disrespect, but I like.
He copy and pasted it from
100%. But see, he likes to joke around too. So it was being it. I guess.
Yeah, he had good intentions.
Exactly.
My problem was it wasn't even the copy and paste or the script or the regurgitated information we already knew was out there. The thing I didn't like, he doesn't know me. So, so he said,
sorry.
What's your co-host name? Like his DJ name. And I think you just said Phil. And he's like, what's his DJ name? And then you said DJ Phil. And his response was lame. So add to that, you're done.
But in his defense.
No.
In his defense, DJ Phil.
So what should it be?
That's not up to me to decide.
DJ Meatballs? What do you want it to be?
Rossi.
Okay, I like that. All right.
DJ Rossi.
So, Steve, you're not allowed on the show. We don't like
But
you.
I respect his opinions.
You do?
I did.
Yeah, I don't. Done.
But,
okay.
But speaking of tips, do you have one that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I do want to talk about primarily the best man speech. This also goes for the maid of honor and also goes for maybe the father doing the welcome speech at a wedding. Just different ways to maybe start those speeches out that can help some of the couples that they're working with this year, and beyond. Because the one thing we always hear, primarily, I would say 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, is in case you don't know me or in case you don't know who I am, my name is this. So
now,
again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly, but think about this. 10 seconds ago, whoever the MC is introduced that individual.
Right.
So people already know who you are.
Correct.
Now, there's a way that you can integrate your name into your intro, and I think Phil has, 3?
Yeah, I just have a couple examples here that just quick things I jotted down that just kind of can get you started on maybe trying something different. So you're not starting.
So do you want me to throw it to you? I'm the MC. I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
You start one.
We can do that.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please focus your attention to the Sweetheart Table as it gives me great honor to introduce Matt's best man, Mr. Phil Rossi.
And then people will clap. At this time, you're going to wait for everybody to get quiet. That way you have their attention. How I would start it is, and it's just the third example that I have here, is my name is Philip, and it's such an honor to speak in front of all of you tonight, but also a huge privilege to be the best man for Matt or Howie, or insert the name of
So that is more like your very simple, very not being funny, straight to the point.
Right. So if you're more nervous, if you're somebody who you don't want to get fancy, you obviously like to be the best man, but you're nervous. Like if you're nervous and you're not confident, you don't do this all the time, and you haven't practiced, keep it basic and simple. But again, the premise of this conversation is just to remove the thing that everybody says, or the majority of people say, which is, in case you don't know me.
I like it. All right, so what's number 2?
So the second one I have here, this one's a little bit more in depth, has a little bit of humor to it. And again, the MC would turn it over, and then you could start. I'd like to begin by congratulating the groom for a superb taste in choosing the best man tonight. The people would laugh. We've heard it a couple times, so it's not as funny as it was the first time.
Because you know what's good, though? Laughter does break the ice. So now the guests are more going to be engaged to hear what you're about to say.
Exactly.
So you want to draw them in. So I guess the best thing is like the way you can either start with humor or start with sincerity, which was the first one. You're just being sincere. You're telling who you are.
Right.
Or you could be funny. All right. So what about the first one?
And then again, it does depend on your personality.
Okay.
If you're funny, if you joke around, you can do that. The third one is more the way I would do it, which is like, I think you should start with the story. Again, write this stuff out, script it out, type it out, whatever you have to do, put it on your phone. If you want to get like index cards or however you feel comfortable, have a beginning, middle, and then end to the story. Keep it general, so for family and friends that maybe don't know you as well as the bride and groom or brothers and sisters, they'll be able to be engaged and understand the story that you're telling. Not just, like we talked about before, just going in circles and kind of rambling on for an extended period of time.
Okay.
So this is how this example would start.
Do you need a drum roll for number 1?
Yeah, you can reintroduce me.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please focus your attention to the sweetheart table. Please put your hands together for Matt's best man, Mr. Phil Rossi.
Picture it. The year was 1992. Howie and I were only 7 years old. Then you're pausing for dramatic effect. Because now, again, like we talked about, you have somebody's attention. Then you continue on. Good evening, family and friends. My name is Philip, and tonight I have the distinct honor of spotlighting this beautiful couple from my perspective. And now you're going to continue on with the story that you started before that. Like I said, the year was 1992.
So now you're going into that sentimental. So you went with the generic, straight to the point. You had your funny, and now you have your sincere.
Right.
I dig it.
Yeah, you're checking off that list, and people will be more engaged because if you think about it, if you just go on there, and the other thing I would eliminate doing too is, as wedding professionals, the microphone is on. We'll talk to you before. We'll just let you know, like, the mic's on. Just make sure you talk into the microphone. Certain things, like even how to hold the mic, we'll go over
Maybe
with
we should
you.
save that for a different time, like etiquette on. I don't want to say etiquette, yeah, but etiquette on how to hold a microphone when you're giving a speech.
Right.
Because people see things on TV, and those mics are different than what we use. So, again, that's something that we could elaborate more on in the future, for sure.
Right. So when you get the mic, just assume that it's on, and a wedding professional will let you know, like, you're ready to go. So, and this is why it's important to start with these examples here, because you don't want to pick the mic up and do, hello, is this thing on, or actually tap the microphone.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Because we understand that you're not hired as the MC, but just if you start that way, people have a perception of you already that you don't really know what you're doing or you're nervous. If you start and your script is ready and you're confident in what you're saying and you've gone over it numerous times, you're not going to have to worry about is the mic on or tap it or shh or do any of that other stuff that you don't really. It's not necessary. You don't have to do that.
Now, do you feel a best man should go to Google and look up a speech?
I don't. I think if you go to Google, maybe to get a couple ideas or maybe structuring things or maybe, give ideas that can help and assist you in writing your own script. Mm-hmm. But, think about it. If you're going to Google, everybody else is also going to Google. Whether it's like a joke or, again, try to always focus things back onto the bride and groom and how you know them. Stay away from, like jokes and generalizations that you just find, on a website somewhere because everybody's using that. Right. And it may not even correlate back to your, brother or whoever the groom or bride is.
It's funny. I saw Wedding Crash. It's funny. We're talking about weddings. So Owen Wilson, I think the character, was telling the bridesmaid she was about to go for this speech, and she had this whole funny, and it was not genuine. It wasn't from the heart. And he's like, it's not going to work. Now, being mine, he's been to multiple weddings because he's a wedding crasher.
Right.
So the advice that he gave her in the movie, and I can't remember her character, but it was like, it should come from the heart. Mm-hmm. And that's so true.
Yeah, and these are people that are literally, like the movie.
Yeah.
But the same principles, apply. That's the kind of thing that you want to do. You want to, make it about them. Mm-hmm. And the other thing we can throw in there, too, is when you write the speech, again, the speech is about them, how you, from your perspective, how those people, how that couple, how that groom, bride has played a part in your life. It's not really about you. I think some people also make that mistake where, it's stories involving you maybe, but again, just remember when you're writing it, because this will help you to spotlight the couple. It's about them from your perspective, but it's not about, your life and the things that you've done with just one person.
Would you say basically it's like writing a story? You have your beginning,
mm-hmm.
your middle, and your end.
Correct.
So how did you get here? What happened? And then where are you at right now?
Right. And then you could even, where you're going in the future or how things have changed. But again, write in a story format. And I think, you'll elevate your speeches to a whole new level just rather than just talking in circles or really having it's like anything. If you have no structure and there's no template to go off of, it's going to get boring. It's going to be longer, extended than it really has to be.
Moral of the story, do not talk yourself into a corner.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
And as far as like time limit too, depending on how much you have to say.
I've had brides, and I would be on a meeting, and I was like, all right, how many speeches do you have? Sometimes you have 4 or 5 people coming up to speak. So as, not to say the MC, but you kind of get a gist, and you've been doing this, and you're like, ooh, that's a lot of talking. So you kind of
that's a lot of papers that they keep turning.
So I always say, do your best man, maid of honor, do they have a time limit? And they're like, oh, I've already warned them 2 minutes, and they have to be off. And then I joke around. I said, do you want me to play like the Grammy wrap-up music? And they're like, But no, I would never do that.
Right.
But because I feel like brevity, I guess is how you say it, key, shortness. Short to the point.
Yeah, get to the point.
Yes.
And again, if you have it scripted and you have it in front of you and you've practiced it, you shouldn't really have any, delay or, really talking in circles. The next thing, so this has nothing to do with the next topic, but I have to get into it because soon I'm going to be playing baseball, or I'm going to be trying to hit a softball against a supposed softball pitcher who's Division I, D1. All right, Howie, you can explain.
So Phil and I, last week, decided to go to the batting cages, but we wanted to go to the ones where we could throw to each other versus going to the ones that have the machine, because... Well, I don't have to go there. But anyway, so I made an appointment. I said, all right, we got an hour at the cages. So we go there. After we're done, we leave to check out, make sure is there anything we need to do before we left. And we go to talking to the young lady that was behind the counter. Her name is Amanda. Make a long story short, she tells us she's a Division I pitcher.
She's so nice, too.
She is. She's very nice. And she was very, very happy. And to me, that's kind of what drew the conversation. Because if she was just very, monotone, no personality, I think it would have been, all right, thank you, have a great weekend, and keep it moving. So we get to talking, and she says she pitches Division I. So I said to Phil, have you ever faced a Division I softball pitcher before? He's like, no. I said, bro, you will not touch her. Well, I think he took it the wrong way. Right?
No, yeah, I was like instant. We have to do this. Yeah, it's hard for me to just be like, oh no, now listen, she could be fantastic. She might strike me out 3 times, but I highly doubt it.
So I put $50 on it. I said, and on Amanda, that she will strike Phil out 3 times.
Now the funny thing about this is, the highest level of baseball I've ever played is high school.
That's it?
Yeah.
Besides rec ball.
Besides rec ball, yeah, and different things.
Okay, so
now,
how fast were they throwing in high school when you played?
It depends. I mean, there were some guys throwing, high 80s, low 90s.
And how many years ago was that? Ballpark.
I would say like 12 years ago.
Okay, so it's been a long time since you faced somebody.
That fast, yeah. I mean, rec ball, I would say some guys are throwing 70, 80. Now, softball's a completely different thing. I mean, the pitcher's mound is closer.
Yep.
They throw rise balls.
Yes.
Softball is
and their windup is different.
It is.
So,
but if you use the same premise, and I'm telling you, listen, she's going to warm up. I'm going to let her do her thing.
Okay.
I'm going to get ready. I'll put my gear on. I might even throw a little eye black on there, just in case it's a little sunny in there.
Okay.
Showboating too, talking smack. And then when I'm listen, I'm telling you, when I'm out there stroking, you'll see.
It's not happening.
It is. You're killing me, Small.
So, $50. Amanda strikes you out 3 times.
That's ridiculous.
I should have put more on the line. I feel that was like a low ball because I'm like, I didn't think she was going to accept it. That's why.
No, that's true too.
I'm like, okay, she's going to say no, I don't. But she's like all for it, and like
she is.
Her eyes lit up when I was like,
maybe she's not that good.
That would be it.
That would suck for you.
It would suck. So she says she throws 62, and I looked it up. And I said, okay, what is equivalent of a 62-mile-an-hour fastball versus a major league fastball? So 94, 92, 94. And you said you only hit 88? I think you're in trouble, bro.
No, listen, I'm not denying that she might throw gas. I'm going back to the principles. Weight on my back foot. Keep your eye on the ball. Twist
Close
the
your
hips.
Eyes and swing and hope for the best. That's what I think is going to happen.
She better not hit me either.
Now, here's the rules. The rule is Phil can't bunt.
I don't even know how to bunt.
Phil cannot just put his bat in the strike zone just to hope to hit the ball, or for actually the ball to hit the bat, because that's all it would be. So he has to put the ball in play.
Correct.
Foul ball does not count because that's equivalent to a
strike.
Exactly. So
I love the baseball quiz in the middle of the explanation.
Yes, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here because I don't want to say, "Oh, look, I fouled the ball." No, Phil, that's a strike.
No,
that's a strike.
And it's cool because this batting cage also has kind of like a mini field, and because we can just go in the regular cage, but I feel if we do the mini field, it'll be better because when I take her yard, I'll do a baseball trap. I want a bat spike, bat flip.
I think what's going to happen. I'm going to take you back. 2008. Brad Lynch is on the mound. You know the rest. He jumps in the air. That's going to be Amanda.
That's not going to be Amanda.
Phil walks off to the side of the dugout, head down. This is how I'm going to videotape this too.
That's fine, but she has to get me out 3 times.
3 times.
That's very difficult.
No, it's not.
It is.
That's what, 12 pitches, 9 pitches.
Now I could understand, but you see,
9 pitches, right?
You've seen me hit, right? You've seen me hit, but you've never seen her throw. So
True.
really, you're betting just in the dark, basically.
I went with a gut instinct.
Okay, I can't wait.
So, I've been waiting all week. I was counting the days. I have it on my calendar. Huh? And I have it circled, which is today.
Do you have the $50?
I do.
Okay.
I'll Venmo it to her. See?
That's good.
All right. So we'll find out next week.
We will.
All right.
Did I tell you how good you look today?
Appreciate it.
You did.
Well, so what's with the bottle? I'm just.
You just noticed it now?
No. I'm staring at it. I'm like, why does he have a champagne bottle on the table?
It's not even opened yet.
Are you going to?
I'm thinking. You know what?
How about this? If you get the hit,
that's what I was just thinking.
We play the video on the show next time,
and I just sip
pop champagne.
Yeah, I like that.
Sick.
I like that. And once I get a hit off Amanda, she's welcome. She can come. She can say, I'll even pour her a nice.
Speaking of guests,
mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts of bringing other people into the show, like bringing guests in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I say we do it.
Different vendors. 'Cause I want to get different vendors' perspective of things that they've seen at a wedding. Maybe they have tips too that we don't know about because things that they've seen. I think so. I feel like any vendor that wants to reach out to us, hit up Phil. Don't hit me up.
And anybody else that has any ideas or has any wants to be on the show, hit us up. If Howie deems you okay to be on the show, I guess we'll go with it.
Exactly.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
Cheers, bro. Have a great weekend.
You too.